This man has never knocked nobody out cold. He's a bully. He's slow. He has no skill, no footwork. He's awkward. And I have been giving him a name. Because he fights. When he's fighting, if you ever watch him in the ring, he drags like that after his opponent. and how's the mummy gonna catch me?
And all I had to do was to go out and beat for a man who had no skill, no class. Seriously, the man had no skill. I don't know why the world is so foolish to believe in him and think that I wasn't going to win.
Well, when you say you're ready to go to war right now...
I see that guy on the street, I beat him before the fight.
You'd actually take him on before the fight?
Beat him like I'm his daddy.
Basketball players out there, football players, they want to beat so bad, they want to get everybody. I'll go to Mars, I don't care.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey, what's up, guys? Again, welcome to an episode of Lights Out Sports Debates. Again, and this is going to be episode 1 of Debunked.
Oh,
and again, this is going to be a
me?
show. Yeah, this is going to be a show that we are going to collaborate on with hopefully myself, Tperfect and KINGRO, obviously here too, and we're gonna do the Lord's work where we tear down a lot of these topics that just don't seem to go away, right? Like they get brought up and thrown into everyone's faces again and again. And again, our job as actual basketball enthusiasts is to kind of give you some real talk and real information. Kind of set the record straight, regardless of who the players, teams, whatever are. So again, I'm Tperfect. How you doing today, bro?
What's going on, man? What's going on? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, man. I don't know what the temperature is where you at, but it's 90 degrees here down here in sunny Brazil.
Oh, you're in Brazil? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still in Brazil. I'll be in Brazil probably till early next month. So I will be spending Thanksgiving down here. Gotcha. Yeah, I tell you what, I ain't looking forward to going back and putting on coats and winter coats and jackets, and I was in the pool today. It's all good, man.
Well, man, I'm in Washington and it's cold as hell here right now. So
yeah, I can't even imagine, man. When I came down here, it was summer, right? And I come down here. It's summer in North Carolina, in New York, and then it's winter down here, but yet it's still like 70, 75. The coldest it got was like 60 something. Now we're in the springtime and you guys are in fall. So yeah, man, it's all good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hopefully, regardless of what the weather is, guys, we're gonna be bringing you content. Hopefully we're gonna start ramping
what up, Fish?
Pretty quick now that we have a plan. Yeah. How you guys doing in the chat? And you guys see our stream. You might have heard this around other channels. Our guy Viz touched on this, but you heard some other channels that just won't let this stuff drop, of how they are just rabid. They are convinced that LeBron James was somehow robbed of DPOY in 2013. And I've debunked this many times. I'm sure Ro has as well. And this is just something that we see eye to eye on, where this is really a kind of a ridiculous take. And for a lot of reasons, we brought the receipts today, but first of all, what are your general thoughts on that subject there before we get into it there, bro?
So, 2013, LeBron James, I actually think that was a fine defensive season from LeBron James. I do think that the best defensive team in the league that year was the Memphis Grizzlies, and pretty much as a result, if the writers felt the need to reward a Memphis Grizzlies. Honestly, I think it was up between Tony Allen and Pau Gasol. I mean, Mark Gasol. Sorry about that, but Mark Gasol. I think he had when it came down to the numbers and the impact. Absolutely was the DPOY, right? I think he should have been DPOY. I mean, like I said, if you weren't going to give it to him, then you're going to give it to Tony Allen. And Tony Allen's minutes per game that year was about 29, something like that. LeBron James, again, deserved to be on the All-NBA first team. Got a problem with that. Deserved to be MVP, maybe unanimous MVP. Had a problem with that as well. But Defensive Player of the Year, and this is the thing. This is the part where I have to hold against LeBron. The Miami Heat were a mediocre defensive team, and then I would say mediocre. They were not top. They weren't top 1, 2, or 3 like the Grizzlies were. They didn't hold teams to low scoring. They actually were on the perimeter, very vulnerable, and they were very vulnerable at the rim. I don't think that the Grizzlies had much. That if any, they had no weaknesses. They were good on the perimeter. I mean, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Zach Randolph could be physical, wasn't a great one-on-one defender, but at the center of that defense was Marc Gasol. And this is an era where, yes, rim protection, it's not about blocking shots. It's about altering shots at the rim, altering shots in the lane. Marc Gasol was in the center of more defensive plays and more defensive effectiveness than LeBron James was that year. So I can see what the writers were doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. I mean, I'm not mad. Like a lot of people say, well, like he made second team, right? I don't care about that. Like you said, I care about what were the numbers, what was the impact. The Grizzlies were top 3 in both points per game allowed and total overall defensive rating that year. And I mean, like you said, Gasol was at a center. He had a lot of great defenders on his team, sure, like the Tony Allen, Randolph. Like that team was loaded defensively. And I mean, also Eric Carrier, I've never subscribed to that where I thought LeBron was DPOY. I've never said that. I've always been pushed back on that. And I've always said there were other, the Heat were top 5 in points per game allowed. They were number 5 exactly, but they were barely top 10 in overall defensive rating. And if you look, so I think, and I've always said this, I think Tim Duncan was actually robbed that year of DPOY. Why do I say that? Right? Well, for a couple of reasons. Mainly, and this is I use this to kind of debunk something as well. But so there are 18 individual defensive categories a player can register in during a given season. Okay, Tim Duncan finished top 5 in 14 of those categories. The record had been 10. The previous record was 10, set by Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994. Okay, so in 14 of these, Tim Duncan was top 5. Okay, including he was second in overall defensive box plus minus behind Gasol, and he was first in defensive rating. Okay, and like I said, Tim Duncan had a historically great defensive season, and by any and all measurement, the Spurs were, I believe, number 3 in defensive rating total. They were just dominant defensive, and Tim Duncan was undisputed anchor of that. Hell, LeBron, I don't think even would have been second or third. Like you saw some of these guys who were dominating, like Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka was better defensively, more impactful. Dwight Howard, like you said, I think Tony Allen was wildly underrated there. And I mean, like you said, LeBron was great, probably his peak defensive year, everything else. But when you look at the actual numbers, and when you set your bias aside and just say, "Whoa, oh my gosh," he does the whole push for LeBron getting a DPOY from his fans and whatnot, are because they think that if he had somehow won that DPOY, then there would be no argument for Michael Jordan over him. I think is that crazy? I think that's right.
Yeah. I think they look at that as an equalizer. They look at that as something that, and again, in my opinion, if you were going to win DPOY, you would have you would have had to make your team a dominant defensive team. So if I go back and look at the numbers, right, you got 5.4 defensive win shares. Gasol led the league in defensive box plus minus. Hey, that those are bad metrics as you just were going down or more your pride than mine. But I'm going to look at the overall, right? And so they were number one. They were number 2 in defensive rating and number 1 in points per game defense. This is the post 2000. I mean, I know it's 2013 and the offense has really like picked up a lot since then, right? But they average they allow 89.3 points a game. That's dominant. And when I look at the guys on that team, you had Rudy Gay, you had Tayshaun Prince, you had Tony Allen, you had Zach Randolph, of course, you had Mike Conley.
Yeah.
A lot of great defenders, and again, I'm not one of those people who subscribe to, well, just put a bunch of good defenders on there, you're gonna have a good defense. Well, yeah, it's like it's not like, he had so much defensive help. Well, guess what? LeBron had good defensive help as well. Shane Battier, a great defender. Dwayne Wade's a great defender. Chris Bosh at his position, great defender. LeBron himself, right? So, it's a matter of you have your teammate. How are y'all scheming? What are y'all doing? Like, they choke teams. They won of the 54 wins, I guess, the win shares, right? However I still don't understand how they calculate win shares, but the Grizzlies had 33.4 defensive win shares. That means, I guess, the win share, they felt that, what the stat feels that they were winning more on defense than offense, right? So, they being a great defensive team. Yeah. Oh, did I cut out?
Oh, no, you didn't cut out. Your mic was just like a little low.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I had a phone call. In the back.
Okay.
But yeah. I'm gonna just finish up and then I'll probably get back. I'll finish up and I'll call back. But yeah. So really, they were a dominant defensive team. Usually, a dominant defensive team is going to have the DPOY or a person, or if one individual player has such an impact where you take a mediocre or bad defensive team without you off the floor, and you make it great. I don't think the on-off numbers were for LeBron, and the Heat never were a dominant defense. They were a team defense. They could be 3-point shooting defense wasn't great. They did create a lot of steals and turnovers and liable turnovers, but that was it. That's not enough to win DPOY. That's just not enough to win DPOY. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that it's like a lot of these people in the chat said, like, there's been the narrative push that because LeBron has, at certain points in his career, has attempted to guard multiple positions, right? The narrative has become, he's, the greatest defender of all time because he attempts to. But no, like, a lot of these people, like, it's easy to see when you actually watch the games that, like, sure, he'll switch on these guys sometimes or he'll even be assigned to them, but he's not shutting down the great players. Like, he's not going to go out there and give you clamp defense, especially in the latter half of his career, where he's going to match up against the best centers, the best small forwards, the best power. Like, he's just not going to do that, right? He'll get lost on a switch. He doesn't close out correctly. Like 2013, he was part of a great defense. Dwayne Wade was still defending. Chris Bosh. They had Shea Battier. They had a lot of these great players who played great team defense. He was a great part of that, and I think LeBron is an underrated defender, if anything, for his career. But like I said, when it's clear that you just have when your goal is to push him above Michael Jordan and you think that it's the DPOY would do that, you've got to make a better case for it than just he was robbed, right? Tell me how. Tell me why, right? It's not the numbers. The numbers don't support that. There were several other better players as more impactful defenders, right? We just named 3 of them, all right? And, yeah, aircraft carrier. Like, LeBron has been cooked his entire career by the best players. Like, I mean, and actually it's not really a knock on him, right? Like, we saw Kevin Durant roast him for 2 straight finals, right? And I mean, it's like, it's not really a knock on him if you like the superstars of the day are always going to get their numbers, but the real issue comes from these LeBron heads, right? Who just really want to. It's not enough for him that LeBron's great. They can't take any dissenting opinion as to why someone else might be better or anything like that. It's just like false religion to them, right? They can't get behind it. They're never going to meet you or be objective about LeBron and his career, ever, right? They just want to argue for the sake of argument. And hey, that's why we come with the facts. That's why we come with the receipts. I think this was if you're talking about the biggest DPOY robbery of all time, I think this was the fact that Duncan didn't win one is insane for starters, right? But this year in particular was maybe his finest year as a defensive anchor, right? I mean, he's had several, but in this year, like the numbers, everything else was just insanely like when you took a look at him. But like Rose said, it's really just, you know, when you have a team as dominant as that Grizzlies team was defensively, you know, obviously the pundits and whatnot are really going to kind of start looking for reasons to give someone on that team, and for good reason. Gasol was a solid defender on the best defensive team in the league, you know. But I think for my money, Duncan was clearly robbed that season. And we'll see though. Some of the comments here we said. Eric Upcare says LeBron is prime played the lanes well for steals from fast blocks after being beaten. His on-ball defense is average. That's a great comment. That's correct. Only one guy in the history of NBA have guarded and been successful against the best at that position, Dennis Rodman. Yeah, Fish. Dennis Rodman, I think, was actually more versatile than LeBron James, especially when he was winning DPOY in Detroit, right? 100%. He was get on the nerves. He played the mental games with him. He was a better rebounder, far better rebounder than LeBron. And, like, he didn't really have the size on him. But I think he was a far better overall, especially later in his career, like where he just, you know, Dennis Rodman could really guard 1 through 5, you know, but especially in his early days. And sometimes he asked him to do that. I mean, he would guard them all. He guarded all the greats, you know, so Rodman went through it. And so, but I mean, hey, you know what? Like I said, and this isn't, make no mistake, this isn't about trashing LeBron and tearing him down. It's just that when we see this narrative, which won't go away and is perpetuated on all these, or like whenever it's brought up for various reasons, right? But mainly, let's keep it a buck. It's mainly brought up to denigrate Michael Jordan in some way and to say that LeBron should have one just because Mike does, right? That's the main reason. And it's not enough that we say we give LeBron his flowers and say he was a great defender, he was this, he was that, great player, blah, blah, blah. It's no. He has to have this, otherwise you hate LeBron, you don't know basketball. All these things that we've heard people tell us over the last however many years, right? And like I said, the receipts just don't back that up. But like I said, Duncan was historically great defensive that year. And LeBron also, just for reference, finished top 5 in just one defensive category that entire year, and that was defensive box plus minus, where he was number 5. Okay? So, hey, whatever you want to say, facts over emotions here. But are you there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. I just had to call back. So yeah. I will say this. I was looking at Duncan's numbers, and again, they were pressed for to be at 37 years old. That part of his career, they were pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. Again, you know, he was 6 in DPOY, right? So yeah, he has a bigger beat than even LeBron does. I mean, if you want to look at it, again, all NBA first team that year deserved it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're looking at defenders, again, DPOY is a very tricky and hard award to get. But what you have to do, and this is my issue, because people they'll call it knocking and they'll call it whatever. It seemed like a lot of the things when I watched Miami Heat game that year, they would always pick the defense up in the second half, and you know, they would pick the defense up in the second half. And that's the deal. You're not going to win DPOY. You gotta play defense from quarter 1 to quarter 4, and have every play impact. That's the thing. Like, Gasol's impact never left. When you're holding teams to 89 points a game, when you're holding teams to the lowest field goal percentage in the league, when you're at the teeth of a defense, affecting the most shots, making the most shots miss. Sometimes it's about the steals. The steals and the blocks can do it. LeBron wasn't leading the league in steals that year, was he? No. I mean, they did force a lot of turnovers, but again, it was all that pressure fourth quarter defense. That's not enough. You have to defend for 4 quarters every play. There is no bring it at the end and then, oh yeah, look, I'm making my team a great defense. It's just like it's a tricky award to win. But you're going up against the entire rest of the league, and you have to make defensive impact from quarter 1 to quarter 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, it's gonna be nice where your defense gets eaten up. But more often than not, the Grizzlies defense and Gasol was just they were smothering teams. You know, they did it in the playoff. You know, they did it to KD. You know, KD was the best scorer. He had the hardest time playing against the Grizzlies defense than anybody. You know, so yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't go by anything that happened in the playoffs because it's not a playoff award. So, yeah, I'm trying to, like, I always try, when I make a debate, I try to be the devil's advocate, right? I try to, because again, I'm not just saying LeBron. LeBron wasn't Swiss cheese on defense, but LeBron wasn't the best defender that year. I mean, he just didn't have the most impact. He had impact, you know what I mean? But he didn't have the most, and that's what a defensive player of the year is generally going to get. You can just go and look year by year. What did the defensive player of the year, what was his case? Tyson Chandler in 2020. They make the Gasol was on the all NBA second team when Dwight Howard was on the first team, right? But again, that's it's more of a reputation thing. And again, Dwight Howard was on the 13 Lakers, who were, so they might have felt his individual defense, but it just didn't translate to great defensive team success. So while individually he's a great defense, I think, see, that's what it is. Defensive player of the year is basically the defensive MVP. They really need to name it that, but it's just like, you don't want, that's what it is, the defensive MVP. And sometimes being the best isn't the MVP. Just being the best player doesn't make it MVP. Having the best numbers don't make it MVP. MVP is a whole different metric, a whole different. It's always subjective. So the voting, it's two different sets of voters as well. So when Tyson Chandler got Defensive Player of the Year with the Knicks, and yet he was on NBA second team defense, it was a similar story. They thought that his on-off court impact, where the Knicks were defensively in 2011 versus 2012, made him the DPOY, and that was his case.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think LeBron led in defensive box plus minus in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. But no, LeBron was great both years. But no, you're right, bro. I mean, it's like I've always said that was his peak defense. Like if you're talking about the great two-way players, right? Like greatest two-way player years. Like there was a stretch where I think, like in 5-year period, like from 9 to 13 or whatever, LeBron was, one of the better two-way players we've ever seen for that sample size, right? And he's right up there. But like I said, it's not like you mentioned a bunch of other players like Marc Gasol. I mean, I'm not mad that Marc Gasol won that because if you look at his impact, you look at where he finished in the advanced metrics, you look at where the team was too. Like, sure, you can make an argument for other players, but it's hard to say that from a statistical standpoint and from a result standpoint that he, wasn't at least deserving of being in that conversation and ultimately won. And then, like, you had guys like Serge Ibaka, who, all these teams had better defenses than the Miami Heat, right? So it's like, what's the argument? If LeBron wasn't dominating statistically and the team wasn't in the conversation for being the best defensive team in the league, like, okay, what is your argument that he deserved it other than, you run out the tired all five position standpoint, which again, he had plenty of help on that team. He had still Shane Battier, who was defending a high position or a high level. Right? Ray Allen was still good defensively. You had Adonis Haslam, like you had Dwayne Wade and Chris. Like those guys were still defending well, right?
Yep.
And that they were arguably a top 10 defense, but like I said, when that narrative really got rolling because LeBron himself, right, mentioned that one of his awards was sitting on Pau Gasol's desk, right, at home.
Yeah, which is crazy. And again, hey, Pau, Pau's a Spaniard. He's probably, he probably takes it in stride. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a team that wound up getting Birdman Anderson off a controversial case, right? Once he was in the clear, right? But once he was in the clear, they got Birdman Anderson to shore up some backline defense. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You didn't have that issue with the Grizzlies. Their backline defense was fine. Like their perimeter defense was fine. There was no weakness in the defense. So yeah, and if LeBron could have felt in, it could have been more of a shot blocker. If LeBron had 1.5 shot blocks a game, I don't know what his numbers want to be, but then maybe you got a case now. Go block more shots. Go go play on ball, go play better on ball defense 4 quarters.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. He played good pressure defense, and that was fine. But that's if I'm looking based on my eye test, that's what I'm saying. You play great pressure defense. You didn't necessarily play great 4 quarters on ball, physical backline. Like I'm telling you, the Ron Artests of the world, the Draymond Greens of the world, the Kawhi Leonards of the world, those guys that have won DPOY, they've done a lot more than LeBron in that year, and that's just a fact. Not hate.
No,
By the way, I looked it up. LeBron did not lead the league in defensive win shares in 2012.
No, yeah, he said. I think it was defensive block plus spot. So yeah, he corrected himself.
Oh, okay, DP, yeah, okay,
yeah.
Cool. So
yeah, it's that's too.
Mm-hmm. As I've always asked, man, I asked Sturdy this. Shout out to Sturdy if you're watching, and he likes to watch afterwards. So Sturdy, I ask you, what combination of defensive stats can you use to properly judge defense? And it's like a formula. You have to look at a lot of things, right? You look at a lot of things, but mostly what you're going to look at is the eye test. Mostly you're going to look at is the scheme and how where are you the best defensive impact? LeBron was very versatile defensively, no doubt, especially at that point, the prime of his career. He's age 28 years old that year. He was very versatile defensively, but again, he wasn't the guy physically getting in there and blocking shots. He wasn't the guy. He's not the guy that when guys are attacking the lane, he's not in there. Putting those couple of physical hard fouls on guys, stuff like that. He was, or even just close out contests. He wasn't the guy locking down the perimeter defender that was carving up the Heat. But at the end of the day, the Heat were a dominant team, and I think maybe that's his case. The 66 win, they won 66 games, 62-16 that year. That might have been the case, but how much is that based on your offense and not based on your defense? What the Grizzlies were, they were mostly based on defense. 89 points a game. That was dominant.
Yeah, no, definitely. And think about that backcourt the Grizzlies had too. They had Conley and Tony Allen. At some point, they could run it out there. That was disgusting. And then they had, and this is again, guys. This is we think LeBron was a magnificent defender, and like I said, I've done debates, I've done breakdowns about how that team and LeBron, especially during that time, was a top 5 two-way player, top 10 two-way player of all time, right? If you look factor and everything. But like I said, when you're talking about these specific awards, these guys that me and Ro are talking about today tend to get lost in the sauce, right? Because people don't want to talk about them. They forget. They think that LeBron was the only guy playing defense back in there. And again, it just boils down to the GOAT debate, right? And it erases people's ability to think logically, right? We're talking about, like you said, what factors, what statistics would prove that he is. And yeah, the eye test is very important too. If you watch Tim Duncan that year, or even Serge Ibaka, those were guys. Were they going to step out and guard your point guard? No, but they had a better impact defensively because they could shut down their areas and their men to such a degree where it impacted. It swung games, it swung points, and they just had such a high IQ for that level of the end of the floor. Whether it's boxing out properly, in a leaving rebound for your team, whatever the case was, they were great at it. Same with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard was underrated, but all these players just had a better overall impact than LeBron James, and you can argue that too, right? And Eric Courier, I disagree with that. He says LeBron was never a top 5 two-way player. I think he was a top 5 two-way player in 2012 and 13. You could say 2009 too, but I think 2012, I think he was a top 5. I mean, it's hard to say that he wasn't, especially if you look at what he did offensively. I mean, but it's just what would you do with you? I don't know. What do you think about that, Ro?
Yeah, I mean, I would say he was. I would say he was, especially that year. I mean, Paul George is coming on strong. I'm just trying to think of guys around the league, right? But Paul George, missed. At that point, he was known for defense, big time. Actually, he was known for defense before the offense came along. To be honest, I mean, same thing with Giannis is not even in the league that year. He's he's working out to come into the league that year. But I'm just thinking of guys who were defensively, and then they came up. Kawhi was still a little too young.
Yeah.
Yes, Kawhi he was a great defender. That's what he was getting his name off of. His offense came along, caught up to his defense. Jimmy Butler, another guy, same boat. So since there's no Kawhi, there's no Jimmy Butler, there's no Giannis yet, who will become better two-way players later on. I mean, I can't name 5 guys not in 2013. Just Paul George, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, LeBron doesn't. See, for me to be called a LeBron hater like people do, I'm going to give him credit. Look at him credit. Like I said, he should have been. And props to the guy that voted for Melo. I get where you were coming from, but LeBron should have been. LeBron was that good that year. We should have been the first unanimous MVP. The defensive player of the year. No, I'm just not giving him that because, again, it was just too. That was the issue. They turned on the defense. You don't turn on the defense to win DPOY. You play defense from start to finish. Draymond Green does not have to turn on defense. Okay, Draymond Green is out there to play, and unfairly, right? Draymond Green is not average to carry a scoring load. We understand that. That's why it's hard to do. It's hard to win defensive play. But let's go. Let's bring up the number 23, right? In 1988, this is Scottie Pippen's rookie year. He's not starting. The Bulls won 50 games that year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Horace Grant's a rookie. Charles Oakley's on the team. He gives you good defensive presence, but he's not the one-on-one defender that you expected. Oh, wait. 1 second. My brother-in-law just pulled up on his bike.
Sure.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm gonna let him in. Pokemon.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Do what you do.
But yeah. No. You can't pretty much expect a guy. It's hard to do. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to do. But Michael Jordan did it. Michael Jordan was the MVP, and
I don't know, bro. You had some.
he has a whole bunch of blocks from the guard position.
Yeah,
that's what he did every night in 1988 to win 50 games on a team with rookie Pippen, a rookie Grant, a Charles Oakley, a David Corzine still at center. Okay, and that's how he won his DPOY. He didn't win it by. Well, I will say this. He did appeal to the media because he felt he was robbed in 1987 when Michael Cooper won it, and Michael Cooper, I believe, is the only player to win it being a 6-man. And Michael Cooper and Jordan was saying, well, I play 40 minutes a game. This guy plays 28, 29 minutes a game. I should have been a DPOY. So I will say LeBron did appeal to the media. I'm sure Johnny and the Coke James Kingdom crew have brought that up several times. But yeah, he did appeal to the media, but here's the thing. He brought it every night. Every night. And, we could talk about the inflated steals and blocks all we want. I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. Again, when they had the debate on my channel, well, are you telling me that the official scorekeepers or not to be trusted? Well, if that's the case, then the whole stat keeping itself is now called into question. So don't open that can of worms. They're in the record books.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I mean, I don't whenever someone wins an award like Mike Jordan, there were many reasons why he did win. If you actually look at the real analytics and the sheer numbers, he was fantastic that year. I mean, we're one of the main cases for it. But yeah, I mean, getting back to LeBron, it's we give him his flowers and everything like that, and the issue arises when we're on other shows or whatever, right? Like you said, GDK or I'm on all these players, all these people where you can't just say it's not enough to say, hey, LeBron was fantastic, and you praise him in these certain ways, and then where you say, we'll be well, you agree that he was robbed? We're no, and here's why. It's automatically a hater.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win, bro. You can't. You call him a top 5 defender. You call him probably one of the best 2-way players in the league. You can't win, but you say he's not DPOY, you're a hater. That you know the drill. You know the drill over there with that with that type of
drill.
thinking. You know what I mean?
100% we know this drill. But any guy, what's your opinion on this, guys? Like, we want to hear your takes and your things. I dropped the link in the chat. So did bro.
Drop it in mine.
Yeah, so let us know what you think. Was there, like, obviously, you know, the whole LeBron, was LeBron robbed? Why do you think so? But also, who else do you think was, if anyone? I mean, do you think it was rightfully won with Gasol? Sure. I mean, no problem with that. But who are some of the people you think and why? I gave my case for Tim Duncan. And obviously, and I give you a lot of reasons why. You know, Roe rated on some of the other players that were, you know, better than Ron, and why we think that obviously he was the best defender on that team, and they were a great team defensively. But, you know, I don't think he edged out or made a more compelling case than he did maybe in even 2009 or 12, right? But let us know, what do you guys think, right? So this is one of the many this is one of the first debunks we're doing as far as all these cases. Obviously, for those of you familiar with I used to do on GJK, we were doing you know, I used to do this segment. Now it's moved over here, and you'll see a lot of these probably subjects you're familiar with, right? That just ridiculous things trying to push an agenda for certain players, all right? A lot of them, yes, happen to be towards LeBron's favor, these bad narratives, which we will tackle, but he's not the only one, right? We have him for a lot of players, a lot of bad takes, a lot of the bad lights. We're here to expose all that, right? But I want your guys, do you agree? Do you disagree? Aircraft Carrier says the right man won 2013. That's a fair opinion, right? I happen to disagree, but, you know, I'm not mad at that. And that's not as hot as a take as saying LeBron was robbed, right?
I will say this: I learned that Tim Duncan led the league in defensive win shares 5 times.
Yes.
Now that will you know, I still don't got him in my top 10, but that is something pretty pretty damn neat.
Yeah, I mean, he was just consistently kind of like Hakeem was, right? Consistently a defender, and it's like, and Aircraft Carrier. That is what we're asking, right? I don't think he was robbed, neither does Roe. And really, you're only going to get this kind of a take from LeBron James pundits, not actual basketball fans, right? People who's only they wake up and go to sleep thinking about how they can puff up LeBron James, right? It's not enough to just say he was a great player or give him his flowers, talk about him in the context of his career. No. He has to be better than everyone at everything. Otherwise, you're bringing this hater, right? That's the way it's evolved into. Every show you watch, we want to be a little bit more objective here. If someone wants to come up and tell me why they think he was robbed, I'm all here for it. I'm not going to berate you or whatever. I might not even disagree with you. I might just ask you, hey, that's a great take, and chalk that up. But, you know, if you weren't want to make that case, hell, even another year maybe that you think he was robbed. I think he had a better case in 2012. You know, like Ismail said, I think his statistics were a little bit better. The team, especially on his end.
About the subject, let's talk about the rebranding, right? I know the theme song came on Lights Out Sports. Right, but we're gonna get into like the debunk. Oh, you want to name the show and channel Debunked from here on out?
Yes, yeah, guys. So from now on, as more content comes through, we're gonna try to do a little bit of rebranding where we're gonna go from Lights Out to something else a little bit more fitting, just because of the figures that will be involved in creating the content. It's no longer going to be just me and DartsCon, obviously, but I'm going to collab a lot more with CW, with Roe here. And
Roe,
a lot of other faces.
Roe, CW, and so CW and the crew. So yeah, we really and welcoming you to the crew. You know what I'm saying? Like our little channel, and yeah, trust me, it won't always be LeBron subjects either, right? This is we're basketball guys, and it might be other sports too. It might be. But it's not going to always be LeBron. We're not going to always hate on LeBron. And guess what? We might argue for LeBron a couple of times, right? There might be stuff that works in LeBron. We might debunk some Jordan myths.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't just think this is gonna be a LeBron hating show, because I know I get that a lot, and
Yeah.
again, Travis's history with the Go
Yeah.
James Kingdom crew, that follows him around. So
No, and
no,
guys,
man, it's
yeah,
not.
you've
No,
heard
we're
me.
gonna debunk a lot of different myths. So this
We
next
are.
is
We are. We'll
more
definitely
about
do that.
the 2013 finals, but
Mhm.
no, it's gonna be more than just LeBron subjects. Trust me.
Yeah, and hey guys, like you've heard me say, like, I've argued for LeBron a lot of stuff. Right? I've defended him against a lot of bad narratives too, and yeah, that's what Rose right. We're gonna cover a vast variety of subjects, as you've probably seen us doing. Like, we're talking actual current day basketball, other myths. Like, it's not just gonna be LeBron Jordan centric, because we're too knowledgeable to be contained like that, right? And so,
Yeah, man.
aircraft carrier
Yeah, man.
Dart is never coming back. He had decided to move on to, not really sure, honestly. He kind of just dipped out. So, an aircraft carrier, yes, I do have LeBron to go, but hey, just because I do doesn't mean that I think that he should have won every award every year that was available, right? That would just be a biased homer take, right? Like, you can praise someone and have them as ranked whatever you want, but you still have to be knowledgeable enough and unbiased enough to be like, no, I think that he was not right. Whatever. You just shows that you're a true fan if you're able to rise above those petty things. So, but yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Let's drop. Go ahead, Rip.
Oh no, I was just basically wondering if anybody was ready to pull up, but yeah, man, yeah. As far as I understand, Dart. The last time I saw him come on Lights Out, he said he was going to do something else. I don't know, gaming. I don't know what he's going to do, but he said he's going to get into other things, and that's cool. Like I said, I mean, sometimes. Shout out to Dart, because I will say this: he did kind of inspire me to get into this game. So okay, Jim. He did kind of inspire me to get into this, and I was a fan of Michael Jordan. Jordan fans are the best. I was a fan of the new thing. I thought we were doing a lot of interesting stuff. So at this stage of the game, we're gonna keep it interesting, man. Like I said, some interesting subjects. Not do the same thing all the time. Not just no grift over here. Talk things smartly, intelligently. Hey, shout out to Hawk, bro. What's up,
What's
Hawk?
up, Hawk? How's it going?
What's going on, man? Man, Ro was hogging the link forever.
Yeah. Damn you, Ro.
Yeah, no. We had a little pre-show. We were a little pre-show confusion, and once we got set up, yeah, I was like, I forgot to give you the link in the chat. But
what's your take on this, Hawk?
On which part? What am I?
Well, so I guess the overall question was, what do you think there was a robbery, DPOY robbery 2013? Did the right man win? And if there was, who should have gotten it?
Truthfully, with your argument, because I truthfully like Duncan gets lost in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how he doesn't win that.
I agree.
I'm not mad about Mark winning it at all. I don't understand. I've never understood the LeBron aspect of it, but you know how it goes. But yeah, I think Duncan should have won that. But like I said, I'm not mad at Mark just because they're a team success.
No, 100%, man. I agree. Like, it's hard to find fault with Mark winning that because of how great that team was defensive that year. And yeah, I get that there was other players there, but he was the anchor, no doubt. His numbers speak for themselves. And like I said, I'm with you because, like, if you dig into the numbers, Duncan was just historically good. But yeah, like the LeBron thing, this was one thing. This narrative just won't die. Like, you hear it brought up all the time, and I'm like, why? What? Like, tell me why. Like, I'm asking why, and the answer is always just he was versatile. But I'm like, that doesn't do it. That doesn't mean anything.
I tell you what, all they do, they look for a chink in the armor. That's all. Yeah, if you have a chink in the armor, then that means LeBron was supposed to win that award. Mm-hmm. That's all. Like, if you say, well, LeBron had he won the scoring title that year, you'd be like, yeah, but This player was first team all defense. They were first team all NBA, and they were assist leader. Like, yeah, but they weren't as good as him scoring. Okay, but at that, all right, whatever. Then you're just going about your business because you're never gonna. That argument's never gonna die.
Can't really get rid of it. 100%.
Yeah, it's the same thing, bro. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many facts that you throw out. Once their mind is made up on LeBron, that's it.
Exactly. It's a brick wall time. What up, Fitch? How's it going?
But like, just like I was saying, like with even if you look at Ben Wallace was never like the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. But if you look at his team success, he's the defensive anchor. Like, you have to look at him. All right, nobody argues that.
Hey, Fish, what's going on, Fish?
That's a great point. Great point.
Hey, nobody ever argues against Ben Wallace's defensive player of years.
No, right? Hey, yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, I threw on the Spurs hat. I threw on the Spurs throwback.
90s Spurs. What's up, Fish? Are you there? Fish? No? Well,
hey, Fish, you might got sound problems or unmute your mic. If you want to hit the link, like, just close your browser, come back. Because I would like to hear from Fish. My brother at All Ball TV, you know, he loves the. I know he loves to give his take, and he's a pretty knowledgeable guy. So
yeah. He told me that damn Draymond would have been doing the same thing he does now in the early 2000s. Hell no.
No way.
Well, I mean, it's funny. You know what I was just thinking about? What would Draymond do against a prime Duncan? Like, Draymond, I don't think Draymond actually played against a prime Duncan. He played against the last 2 years of Duncan, but I don't think he ever got the prime Duncan in his prime. And, you know, same thing with Akeem and the rest of them. But Draymond
would have retired if he faced.
Draymond would have been a seventh man, bro. Like I said.
If he faced like 2005 AG, he would have retired.
He came at the right time, bro. That's all. Like, I'm not. Yeah. I can't take away from his career. His career is his career. But if you compare him to the players that were in the early 2000s, bro, he's a seventh man at best. Unless he's on the team.
Oh yeah, Rasheed Wallace beating him, KG, Duncan. I mean, hell.
What is he doing with Dirk, bro?
Yeah, nothing. Dirk,
what is he doing with Prime KG?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Let's be fair. He will be a hindrance. I will say he could hinder some of them guys just on his antics and his physicality. I'm talking about Dirk. I'm talking about Draymond.
Let me tell you something, bro. Draymond doing the stuff that he does, getting punched in the face in the early 2000s.
Well, Well, guess what? But you know what happens though? If he does that to a Shaq and Shaq takes the bait, Shaq is getting thrown out, and guess what?
No. Nobody said that Shaq was going to do it. Nobody said that Shaq was going to do it.
I know what you mean, and I get it. But what I'm saying is, right, more so than just the antics. Like, you know what makes Draymond effective in this day and age? He can really kind of not necessarily just get up. He's not the Rodman thing. He's Rodman-esque. But he also does have
great Dennis Rodman, bro.
No, that's not fair. He does have great technique. He does have switchability, things like that. So there are some things in this factor. Now, I don't believe he's the greatest defender of all time by any stretch of the mean. And I do think he would have a hard time playing that 4 position and that 5 position, especially in the early 2000s with some of these big men. But
so what position is he going to play, bro? He can't track a 3 or a 2 in the early 2000s.
He would have to work on a shot like 100% to be.
But what 3 is he checking?
Oh, he can check a lot of 3s. He can check some 3s.
What? Okay, my bad. What elite 3 is he checking?
Well, guys who are strictly jump shooters. I think he could check. He could have checked the Josh Smiths of the world. He could have checked the Karolinko. I think he would have had some good battles with some guys.
I don't know about that, bro.
Kirilenko. Ooh.
I don't know.
Hey,
AK-47 gonna give him work.
This is Fish's guy. Hold on. This is Fish's guy. Fish, you back up?
Yeah, am I good?
Yeah,
we hear you now. We hear you now.
AK-47 giving him work, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, players gonna do what you allow them to do, right? So Draymond is doing what the league allows him to do. He's not gonna do all this wild, stupid stuff in the 90s. He's not gonna do that stuff. But to say he's not gonna be able to guard certain guys when they were guardable, like guys like Kirilenko couldn't put the ball on the floor consistently. Guys like Kenyon Martin couldn't handle the ball. Kenyon Martin's game was dependent on Jason Kidd. It was dependent on the point guard because he couldn't shoot. He could shoot that little push shot in the paint, but you had a lot of guys that couldn't do what he did. Think about how many guys at the 3 and at the 4 that couldn't run the offense, couldn't make the passes he made. So how many of those, and couldn't rebound like him? So how many of those guys will be coming off the floor because of Green in the 90s?
Hey, bro, is his game not dependent upon Curry? Have you had any evidence that his game is not dependent upon Curry?
Oh, wait.
I think it goes both ways because a lot of Curry shots are passes that Draymond makes that other guys aren't making. Right?
And let's be fair. We're talking defense.
No, he said Draymond's game is dependent on Curry. It's both ways because Curry's not getting his shots off his own dribble a lot of the time because he can't physically do that. So a lot of the shots that him and Clay were getting were blind passes from Green that nobody else on the team was making other than Iguodala. So it's a two-way street with those two guys. They work together.
Bro, so you saying that Curry can't get his own shot off?
When Draymond's not on the court, how hard is it for Curry to score? How often does Curry struggle? Because physically he can't get you off it. So a lot of his shots come off movement. If you put Curry out there and let him handle the ball consistently like Brunson, is Curry averaging the points he's putting up?
No, I believe his average comes down. Here's the point though. It depends if he has a 3 or a 4 that can find him. I mean, that's a regular skill set for a lot of players in the NBA though. Like what
how many 3 or 4s in the league right now can run the offense?
Off the top of my head, I'm going through the offense, right?
Or even in the 90s, even when Kmart, how many 3s and 4s could literally come up the court and run the offense?
This was our argument when we was talking earlier, bro. There was no 3. They had actual point guards then, though. They weren't doing that.
Yo, they had 3s and 4s.
No, I'm not saying that it didn't have 3s and 4s. What I'm saying is they had Jay Kids, they had Steve Nash, they had 1s or 2s that ran the offense. The 3s. What 3s ran the offense in the early 90s?
Scottie Pippen, Derek McKee, Lamar Odom.
Like Glenn Rice.
You had guys in that position that
Lamar Odom. Lamar comes around late. I know Danny Manning. Oh wait, so look in the early 90s. Let's look. Hold on. Let's look at his matchups in the early 90s. Danny Manning, Derek McKee, a Billy Owens type, right? Let's see. Scottie Pippen, of course.
If we take
Grant Hill by the mid-90s. Yeah, Grant Hill comes in the mid-90s. See, it's funny, man. It's funny. Draymond plays in this era where he matchups with a lot of 3, 4s, and 5s. So let's be like, I think he could match up with some 2s. Younger Draymond could have matched up with some 1s, but this at 35, he ain't matching up with 1s no more, right?
No,
that's fair.
No.
You know, again, I just want to be. I want to be like, because I'm not the biggest Draymond fan. I think he does get overglazed somewhat, but you know, again, he is a guy in there that you can count on defensively for a lot of things. And
that's a fact.
Again, A lot of things he does is does not show up on the stat sheet or whatever. His DPOY was earned again.
No one's saying that that Steph can't do that. We're saying is that, or what they said is that he's a part. He's assisted in his scoring opportunities with timely passes by
facilitated. People say that you can't have Dre without Steph. You can't have Steph without Dre. I think they have a very symbiotic. I think they have a very symbiotic relationship where one guy feeds the other. It's not a parasitic. Certain guys will certain guys will absolutely depend on one guy to make them better. I think they actually benefit each other in a lot of ways. Cool coach is another. I think Dre would have. But hold on.
I'm not a big Draymond fan, but I respect the little things that he does within the game that a lot of other guys don't do at one end, and then to be able to play defense and lead the league in steals at the other end. He does two totally different jobs that a lot of guys that played in the league that knock him that were incapable of doing.
Bro, I respect his game just like I respect Steph's game, but truthfully, I don't think either one of them would have made it that long in the 90s.
They would have had to play. They would have had to have different roles. I think they would have had different roles. He would have been in the league. He might not have been a starter at the 4. You probably would have had to play him at the 3 at best, right? And then he would have made his mark. I mean, again, if you want to say low budget ramen, yeah, okay, maybe a little bit smarter IQ offensively with a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, and again,
this is my thing. He has the benefit from learning from people like Rodman, though. Like, if you just say, I don't know him. Like I said, I'm not a Draymond Green fan. I don't know him at all. If we say that, all right, well, just say that he modeled his game after Dennis Rodman, but he knew he had to put offense in it because of the way the league was going and how basketball is, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So you take Rodman, now you done remix Rodman's game the same with how we talk about Kobe, right? You take what Jordan was doing, then you add a little bit of magic, whatever. The people before that didn't have that luxury.
Understood. No, I mean, you can say that for anybody, right? Because Jordan took from
that's what I'm saying. That's all. But
shout out to Herm was good, man.
Like that's the same conversation I'll be having about Jokic, bro. Like,
hey, is the bum talk over here? Or are we on to something, bro? Because I know you love to say bum talk. That's your catchphrase.
Herb has to give us flowers today.
Nah, y'all good. Y'all good, right?
Every dude in the NBA took their game from somebody. They took a piece from somebody. No matter how far back you go.
That's a fact. All I'm saying is if you take a generational talents game, right? And it fits yours somewhat, and then you add on to that. I can't be like, oh, well, he would have did this back in this era. He wouldn't have had that to learn from back in that era. So I don't know what he would have did. I'm looking at what he is. I'm looking at what he is, and I'm looking at the competition he would have had. And I don't believe that he would have been that impactful as he is now.
Yeah, the only pushback I'm going to give you guys is that I came in. I didn't model my game after anyone. I came in setting the standard for like how a player should be, and I was immediately the best player in the league.
Out of control.
So,
even Green having gone to Michigan State, he said he took part of his from Magic. He watched a lot of tape on Magic. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, see.
A lot of guys took.
Y'all see Melo? Hold on. Did y'all see that clip with Melo? Melo was talking. He was telling DeMar DeRozan. No, he had DeMar DeRozan on the podcast, and he was talking about everybody he picked up from. And he went down back to Bernard King. He went back to a lot of cats. And it's just funny, bro. But Herb, what up, man?
What's that?
Herb, give us your take on the topic here today. Obviously, you've heard this one. We all have, right? Was there a robbery at DPOY 2013? If so, who should it have went to?
Nah, it wasn't a robbery. We got to look at the history of had the game picked the defensive player of the year. Most of the time, the bigs win defensive player of the year. So, yes, did LeBron have a great defensive year that year, yeah. But we got to typically understand the impact Marcus Gasol had as well. Marcus Gasol did have a great impact that particular year. The Grizzlies was a dangerous team around that time as well due to what he brought on the defensive end. And end of the day, what position affects defense the most? And honestly, majority of the time, about 85% of the time, is going to be your big. So that shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Nobody should be feeling any type of way about it. That's just been the history. Why you think guys like Ben Wallace got 4 defensive player, multiple defensive player of the years, the White Howards, the Mutombos, the Zoes, and all them, despite of having great defenders like a Scottie Pippen in that era. You know what I'm saying? Scottie probably should have got one, but guess what? You dealing with niggas like a David Robinson, a Akeem Olajuwon. You got all types of bigs that actually have impact on that side of the ball as well. And the big can change everything, for us defensively. So niggas just gotta be honest about it. I don't think any LeBron fans should be crying about it. That's just been the history. Yeah, did they give it to Jordan in '88? But he did some remarkable things at that time that they wasn't particularly seeing from a shooting guard. So they got to be honest about that as well. We've seen that from small forwards before, unfortunately. So, most of the time, and it's going to go to a big most of the time, whether they like it or not.
That's a great take, man. Can anyone off the cuff tell me what guards, if any, I only have one in mind, have more than one DPOY? Go.
Well, you got the great Sidney Moncrief.
Facts. That's the only one I have on deck.
Does Alvin Robinson have one?
No,
he does have one. Gary Payton has one.
Gary.
If you want to put, that's if y'all would count a guy like a Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi, yeah. Non-centers,
if we
right?
want to talk about guys that got robbed, how many does Michael Cooper have?
He has the one.
He has one.
He has one.
Definitely got robbed.
But like you said, that time frame, it was bigs who controlled the paint, and the game was inside out, so the bigs were going to get most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kareem has
that good Hall of Famer.
Yep, Kareem would have had probably.
But look now though. Most of the time, it's bigs that's going to win that award.
See, and that's why I say I don't rank guys like Bill or Wilt in my top 10 because they have an asterisk, right? Because if those awards would have been available to them, they'd have 4 or 5 each, right? There would be no talking about who the GOAT was. They would be the GOATs, and then we'd have to talk about everyone else. It's just insane.
I will say this. What I just looked up. 5 of the first 6 DPOYs, defensive player of the year, were guards. It was Moncrief won the first 2.
Jordan.
Then I believe Markey won the next one. Then you got Coop. You got Coop, Alvin Robinson, and then Jordan. Well, Alvin Robinson, Coop, then Jordan.
After that, Alvin Robinson averaged like 5 steals a game. Something insane like that.
Yeah, but that was the evolution around that time. That was the evolution of dominant wings and for us defensively, because you got to realize what the league was going to. They was going away from the bigs driven offense because Larry Bird, the evolution of Larry and Magic, and then you had guys like Isaiah's. And you got your top scorers like Alice English and guys like that. So you needed those wings to contain those type of players, and that's why the Michael Coopers, the Alvin Robinsons,
Michael Ray Richardson,
Joe Dumars, you know what I'm saying? All those guys was vital to a lot of success because
he was in a guard. Yeah, I know exactly. It shifted back obviously to a center-heavy focus, right? For the most part, like a lot of it in the 90s. And then you start to see a lot of guard play where, especially today, if you have any hope of winning, you have to have serviceable perimeter defense, especially today, right? Like, who's the DPOY candidate? Who won it last year? The guy from the Heat, right? Or the Cavs, right? I can't remember his name at the moment.
Yeah, Evan Mobley.
Mobley, yes. Okay.
That's a big, though.
Yeah, big. So, I mean, who's a dark horse candidate? Would you say today or this year? I should say early dark horse. Wemby? No,
Wemby gonna be in it, but he missing games right now.
Yeah,
so.
he has missing games.
Yeah.
He was definitely supposed to get this year.
You gotta look at a guy. I think Jalen Duran should be in the conversation this year.
Mm-hmm.
Or Trump been doing.
Yeah, we have there's a lot of. It's early to shake out, but I think there's a lot of teams that, like we knew would be good, right? The only real surprises, I think, especially defensively, like I think the Heat are better than expected.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. Like they're just shooting lights out, but I mean, I knew the Nuggets were good.
I tell you a guy who'll probably never win Defensive Player of the Year. He'll never be in the running, but for his size, he guards 1 through 5,
Jokic.
And that's Peyton.
So folks say Jokic.
No, that's actually correct.
Peyton will guard 1 through 5, and he'll go block a big shot. Like that guy is like a throwback. That is more defensively than his dad,
Thompson.
which is saying a lot.
Man Thompson. I think man Thompson was a sleeper.
Well, yeah, someone else, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You said what, Kevin Durant?
No, I think Durant. I said if he can be healthy, right, stay healthy, that Houston team. And it's not just him, obviously. That team, I think, is stacked. You have something. I mean, that team is going to be maybe one of 2 teams I think that could challenge the Thunder this year. I mean, I don't want to write anyone off, but who knows, right?
That's a fact. I just it's going to get ugly if they lose early.
Yes. Yep.
It's going to get real ugly.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild year. I mean, Thunder look better than last year, if that's even possible.
I mean, I really think they're going to repeat. But I'm just like Houston. Like if they go out second round, playing the low seeded team, bro. They're gonna dog Kevin Durant till he retires.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, aircraft carrier. It's not us believing in KD. It's us recognizing what he's done for his career, which is be a scoring threat. That's all that Houston needs from him, right? They don't need him to be this great leader or defensive man. They just needed what they needed last year was a knockdown shooter, 25, 26 points at a high efficiency, right? And that's what he's doing.
I want the KD that played against Milwaukee and Brooklyn.
Yeah, sure. You know, I mean, we're never going to get 2018 KD, right? But we're going to get – he fits in there. He's done it so far, but they look good. I don't think there's ever any doubt of that, but, I mean, I think
for Houston to win, KD's got to find a spot on the court to be effective and not slow up the ball movement on the other side of the court. Mm-hmm. He can't do everything from the top of the key.
Yeah, but he got to be effective in the fourth quarter. Yeah. That shooting a great percentage in the first 3 quarters and then chilling the last 5 minutes ain't working.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
Well, Houston's got to find a guy that can get buckets down the stretch and it not have to be KD.
That's what he's there for.
But they've got to find another guy because, like he said, first 3 quarters, he's on. Then he's chilling the last 5. Houston's got to find a young guy that can get consistent buckets down the stretch and not have to go to KD.
You're right, bro. I understand exactly what you're saying, but that's the reason you go out and get a KD because you didn't have that last year. You didn't have a guy in the last 5 minutes that could put the ball in the hole. That's the reason you go get a certified sniper, bro. Because that's your job in the last 5 minutes to take us home.
But how's that work for KD the last couple of years, though?
But but so you shouldn't took that role. That's your role on this team. Your role is to be the veteran, be the scoring threat, and you're the guy that takes us home because you're the unstoppable scorer.
Mm-hmm. If you look at their team too,
his role is kind of to show those guys how to do it.
Yeah.
And do it if they can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that means, bro, if that means if we on a 2-10 run and we losing ground the last 5 minutes, bro, I need you to take over.
Yeah, we're essentially saying the same thing, but at the same time, as a ball player, what KD also has to do is he's got to know when to step back and not stunt their growth.
That's a fact. But here's the other issue,
and that's the thing,
bro.
is he ready to do that? Is he ready to be on fire the first couple of quarters, and then when somebody's ready to show up, not let ego get in the way and say, I got this? Because at some point they got to figure it out.
He did it in the game when Şengün went off. He deferred to Şengün in the last. He's ready to do it. The problem is he ready to take over when they're not on? Because he still just defers. I mean, there's games that he takes over. I'm not going to act like he can't take over and he won't take over at all. But what I'm saying, when you actually need him, I need him to show up like game 3 against LeBron type KD. I don't want to hear, oh, well, you know, they need somebody else to step up. No. That's what they got him for. Everybody for the talk been from him too. He's the most unstoppable scorer in NBA history. All right, we're not going to debate it. I don't believe so. I believe he's top 3. But if you're that means the last 5 minutes, bro, you got to take us home.
Yeah. Shout out to Terry Easton leading the league in field goal percentage from the 3. Also, I mean, you got guys there, you got dogs. I mean, and I agree, Fish. Like, you definitely don't want to see that, especially if he's having an off night and he wants to develop that. You know, it's very situational though, right? Like, it's their team is meshing. He's only taking 17 shots a game, and like, I mean, you expect it from him. He's leading them in the scoring, but he's gonna. I think they brought him there to be that guy, and yeah, it depends on the situation wildly, also on the coaching. But I mean, interesting take there, Hawk. Who do you think is ahead of KD as far as best scorers ever? That's actually a great question.
You said over him?
Yeah.
I only have 2 over. Well, actually, I don't count Wilt. So, the only ones I have over him is Jordan and Kobe.
Fair enough. Fair. I have Durant as the best person. That's why I only resist something just because of his averages and career. But I think both of them were more polished scorers than him. But yeah, that's actually a great take. But anyway, he says, "How do you count Wilt?" Am I a ghost? Sorry, Ro. Yeah, you blanked out, Ro. My bad.
I don't count Wilt because I mean.
Now I'm bugging.
No,
I was sitting there like, yo, am I a ghost? You ever have that dream where like nobody can see you?
Never. I'm the best.
But yeah, I got bugged out. But no, I was listening. I was following y'all. Yeah, Houston, KD being a bus rider and all that. That's a little. What was I gonna ask? About any surprises? Like, okay, Toronto. How about like Toronto? This is what I want to talk about. Ain't it crazy how the trade worked out for Houston and Phoenix? Like, you broke up that big 3. Now, Phoenix is playing better, and so is Houston. Like, Houston got what they need, and Phoenix got what they need. I think Phoenix should have never built that team the way they did. They should never traded Mikal Bridges or KD. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't.
They should have never got Bradley Beal. They would have been all right.
I mean, really, you did all of that, and you got to 1 second round, right? Saying, Bradley Beal was overkill, and they gave up a lot of picks to put that all together, and it's like now they got back to building a real team. This will tell you that super team era is officially dead. Hey, shout out to Harden getting the double nickel tonight. That's good. But Toronto's 11-5.
The real question is, are the Nets, Pacers, and Wizards going to combine to go like 15 and like 170?
You said Harden got a double nickel?
Yeah, Harden got double nickel today. They beat the
Won't happen in
Hornets.
the playoffs.
Well, we know that. We know that.
Yo.
LaMelo once out of Charlotte scenes, and I think today's another day that would kind of support that. Yeah, man. I mean, the DPOY. Here's the thought. What if Wemby don't get what if Wemby has a dominant defensive season and he gets 64 games? Ooh, there's gonna be a controversy there. And it's like Wemby averages like 3.5 blocks a game and like an Amin Thompson, or gets a DPOY just because Wemby didn't get to 65 games. How will we look at that DPOY trophy down the road? It's
I mean, it is what it is, bro. This is laid out on paper, bro. You didn't make the cut. Like, I mean, that was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year and MVP. But, I mean, if you can't stay healthy, I can't say you're Defensive Player of the Year, bro. You missed too many damn games. What happened to who was playing defense in the games you wasn't there?
Yeah.
I think they got it.
The Spurs aren't playing. Everyone, like, the best defensive team in the league right now? What is it? Oakley? Like, you said
OKC.
still? Yeah.
It probably is OKC again. Yeah.
I mean, but are we getting a DPOY coming out of there? I mean,
it's kind of hard to make it's kind of hard to make an individual case for anybody there, but yet there's such a great defensive unit.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, Chet, he the back line.
It's like that. It's like the year Detroit. It's like the year Detroit was going to the championship. Ben Wallace had to stand out with block shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to stand out in one individual category when you got a team that plays defense like that.
Yeah. On top of that, Ben Wallace is getting all the rebounding titles. That's part of defense as well.
That, and he was in games that I think a lot of his, like, he played against people that was way bigger than him, like Shaq, and he was checking them by himself.
Yeah, Ben Wallace was his athleticism, his ability to jump, his ability to stand his ground. You know, it's funny because I was as a Knicks fan talking trash to Nick haters, and I was saying how Oakley, if it wasn't for Oakley, Ben Wallace would never got his chance. Now, again, I was saying some things that would seem controversial. But that is a fact. Oakley did give him his shot. But Ben Wallace, make no mistake about it, I am fully aware of what Ben Wallace was defensively, and he was that's what got him in the Hall of Fame. The one championship, the 4 DPOYs, all the rebounding titles. I think he might have got a block title in there or 2 or whatever. I mean, again, this is how you win. This is how you win awards. This is what I want to say as well. Winning individual awards is hard. You got to be the best player in the whole league, right? So winning a DPOY.
Not true.
It's hard to win DPOY and MVP. Not too many people. Yeah, I mean, even Steve Nash, he had every play on, like, that 7-second left offense did not work until Steve Nash got there. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact.
Yeah, you gotta understand that. I know he's far superior to Charles Oakley.
Even human shit is important in the system.
That was the ultimate participation trophy right there with Steve Nash. That was the ultimate pizza party.
Well, I mean, bro, he was a great piece in that offense. He was a great system player, but like the MVP was crazy.
Especially the second one.
Either one of them, bro. He shouldn't have got either one.
One should have been Shaq, one should have been Kobe.
I agree. He was a system player, but he was a system. And as far as the aircraft carrier, yes, Bill Wallace's career turned out to be better than Oakley's. Yes,
don't say he was a system, bro.
Well, that's not. See, again, that wasn't my argument. My argument was Oakley was Ben Wallace's mentor. Ben Wallace is a better athlete than Charles Oakley, and that's why Ben Wallace is in the Hall of Fame. That's why Ben Wallace had a successful career. But Charles Oakley did give Ben Wallace his chance, his opportunity, because before Ben Wallace, they weren't going to Virginia Union especially in that era. That's why he didn't get drafted. Not only did he get him to Virginia Union, he got him he got him a look. They said, "Hey, get this kid Ben Wallace." Nobody drafted him. I think he's the only undrafted free agent to be in the Hall of Fame. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not comparing him to Charles Oakley. That's a different story. And I'm just saying I understand what made Ben Wallace as special as he is, and that's why
Well, you said Charles Oakley was the top 10 player of all time.
Well, top 10 rebounder, yeah, definitely.
Ben was in Oklahoma City before he got drafted. You do know that, Ro. Ben was in the CBA. He was with the Oklahoma City Cowboys.
Okay, I get that. That's what I'm saying. Now, he would have. I would say this. He would have got discovered eventually. You know, he didn't get drafted.
Well, the Cal. I was living in Oklahoma City at that time. The Cavalry had a lot of NBA guys and a lot of NBA coaches who molded it. Like think about this. Ben Wallace is coming to a team that's got Sheldon Jones, Ike Austin, Lorenzo Charles on their front line. You're coming to a team that's got NBA guys who do what you do.
I got you.
That's what he came into. That's what he came into. And then you had they like that Oklahoma City team had a lot of NBA. They had Stevie Thompson. They had a lot of NBA guys who were mentors like Oakley was to Ben, who came in as a rookie. And then when he went to the NBA as a free agent, he already got that mindset from Oakley and from those other guys to work.
Yeah, and that's a shout out. And look, when the best players, they learn from vets. They don't come in here like they know it all, because the best players like that, they learn from vets. They don't come in like they know it all. They pick up everything from these more experienced big, and then they can become when you got the talent of a Ben Wallace, the way you can lead, the physicality you have. You know what I'm saying? You can get to the Hall of Fame and win 4 DPOY. So shout out to that.
Why do you think the team makes so much money, man?
Oh yeah. Pick up from these players, man. That's what I say. But you know how it goes. Oh no, these guys come in, they know it all. They got their own little game. This guy would have done this. Man, that's why they still, all these star players still go to the King to learn how footwork and all that, man. So, man.
If the scenario y'all gave about Wemby and he doesn't win because of the lack of games, he can thank his coach for that. He could thank Pop for that, because Pop was the one that started. What's the word I want to look for? Sitting out games.
Low management.
Because Pop used to sit dunking in those guys. He used to sit dunking on those guys, and the thing on the player sheet would always say rest or old or something stupid that. Pop was the one that started that.
You're right, bro, but I can't blame Pop. Like he started because his players was getting older. He wanted to preserve their careers. He didn't want certain players playing back to back because he needed them down the long stretch. Now I understand exactly what you're saying. Like that shouldn't be a thing regardless. But if we look at Kawhi is a special case because he actually has injuries that he battles regularly. He got badass knees. Joel Embiid is a completely different thing. Ben Simmons, people like that's completely different. We not blaming Pop for that, bro.
No, it was a progression because it started. I want to say it started with Pat Riley, because Pat Riley used to sit Magic and Kareem and them once they made the playoffs, and then Pop took it a little bit further to where now you got guys just sitting just because it's a Tuesday.
But I mean, this is like blaming me for robberies because I was robbing. Because I was stealing money out of a payphone when I was younger, bro.
He can take low. If he don't get it, he can take load management.
That's a fact. That's definitely a fact.
Because you got to be able to play a certain amount of games to get an award.
You right, bro. And I'm not a Pop fan, but you ain't about to blame Pop for that, bro. It's crazy.
Mar says has nothing to do with the players. What do you think of that?
How? Ask Brian about how he take 2 weeks off every year.
Yeah,
that definitely has something to do with the damn players, man. They take off whenever they feel like it.
We're getting Mars started, but you know how Mars crew, nothing is ever the player's fault. Now I get what Mars saying, because a lot of the times when these guys do sit, it's the coaches in the front office deciding, okay, And these guys, and really a guy like Wembanyama just has to put you. Look, and I gotta get my. Look, I understand it's not the end all be all. Me getting awards is important, but I want to get the award. I'm leading this team. I deserve to play 65 games.
Bro, we not about to do this shit. If I'm a star player and I can get a damn coach fired, a coach not about to tell me I can't play tonight.
No, I understand. I get it. But see, again, a lot of times it's organizational, not even just the coach. A lot of times the coach wants to play, and there's somebody up in the training
So
board.
you telling me somebody telling LeBron when he can play and when he can't?
Sorry about that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not saying.
What did Mike have put in his contract when he broke his foot? What was that clause Mike put in his contract when he broke his foot? I can pick up a basketball and play anywhere I want to at any time.
Yeah,
exactly. Right? Because Mike had to sneak down to UNC to work out to get back in shape to get back for the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And didn't tell nobody. And then when they found out, he put that in his contract. So you're not going to tell me that you have guys right now. Nobody's going to tell me that you got guys right now who have juice in the league, who have juice on their team, who could get a coach fired, but he can't say, I want to play tonight. AD is a special case. Guys like Wemby are special cases where they just have guys have injuries. That's different. Kawhi is different. But guys just sitting down because they feel like sitting down. Okay, how about if we pay you for the games that you actually play?
Exactly.
Y'all talking facts. You're talking facts because I mean it depends on your status though. It really depends on your status because I know right now I think what the Knicks are doing with Mitchell Robinson is a two-pronged thing, right? They're trying to preserve him for a playoff run, but yet they're also kind of devaluing him because he got a contract coming up.
That's a fact, but bro, like I like Mitchell Robinson, but bro, people ain't walking through the turnstiles to see Mitchell Robinson, bro.
Okay, listen. See, you just dismissing the guy. I'm just naming an example.
I'm not though, bro. All I'm saying is the organization can say that shit to Mitchell Robinson. They not saying that shit to Jalen Brunson.
No, you're right, and that's what I'm saying. But again, this is what Fish brought up. He brought up the love of the game clause. Michael Jordan himself. Remember, Michael Jordan's coach was going to be fired if he played 1 minute over that minute limit when he came back from a broken foot. So that's what Fish said. He didn't put the love of the game clause in his contract, which says you can't tell me that I can't work on my craft because not only does this make me a better basketball player, this will also make me more money. You cannot sit there and say that I'm your investment. That's what it is. I'm your investment where I can't improve my game. You can't sit there. Actually, that could be a labor fight where, hey, if teams are using this whole 65 game rule to keep players from getting their incentive, getting their awards so they can, they can qualify for bigger contracts and stuff like that, then that becomes a can of worms you don't want to open either. So, I'm just saying,
They lost that already in that CBA. They shouldn't have signed that.
Well, I mean, it was sort of a clapback for the coaches, and for the ownership. But a lot of the times, I think historically too, most players, because there are exceptions, where Scottie Pippen played 44 games and still made the All-NBA defensive team and All-NBA NBA team back in '98. But generally speaking, guys that miss a lot of games didn't get put up for All-NBA. And all of the defensive players, like you ain't gonna see too many 44 wins. There's no point where somebody played 44 games and got MVP or DPOY. That never happened. So, generally speaking, the media were already penalized for missing too many games.
I tell you this: you saw who worked on their game and who didn't over the summer after Katrina. Because after Katrina, Kenny Smith got a game together for charity. And he got the summit in Houston for free. And he personally called each player and said, you come down there yourself, not with your representative. And you saw which dudes who have been working on a game over the summer in shape and who was fat like Shaq. You saw which dudes took their game serious. Because when they showed up for that game, because it was no commercial, it was like a telethon. You saw who worked on their game over the summer. and who didn't. You saw that. And now what I see now is a lot of guys will work with a trainer and work on 1,000 moves that they'll never do in a game at Rico Hines Summer League and run bullshit run, but they won't work on the game itself and work on playing with their teammates and getting better. But they'll work on 1,000 different individual moves, and it'll be the same guys who want to sit out game.
It's a great take. And I mean, Mar, what players did come out and say that though, man? Like that they just felt like it? I mean, I think there's been times where they've milked their, injury or whatever the case is to take a few extra days, not because they necessarily needed to, but who are we to judge? It is what it is. Obviously, if they're not interested in winning, there's a minimum amount of games you gotta give. But I mean, it is what it is. And hey, the best teams are always going to be those guys who maybe do have a little bit more commitment, right? We're going to play through a couple of things, and going to bring it all when it matters. But I've never been the kind of guy who's like, hell, he's milking, so he's not. I'm going to dock him in whatever rankings I have here. But shout out Iron Man, welcome. All you guys here, and I think Roe died again. We'll see if it comes back. But fantastic take.
Time.
And I mean, obviously, guys, we got a little off topic, but we were having a great conversation about a number of things, a number of great takes from everyone, Herm, Hawkfish, everyone, and we're going to try to do a number of these debunk things, and also. We want to kind of get what you guys recommend too, maybe from the panelists here in the chat. I have a number of topics that I'm going to come up here and try to debunk every week. But if you guys have something that you've heard or just kind of rubbed you the wrong way from a show, whatever maybe shows that you were on, send it our way so we can get you guys up here. We'll tear it apart together. Just bad narratives, right? Bad, bias-driven takes or content. That's what we're here for, especially today. And, we do this every single Saturday. So, and we need good basketball minds like the ones we have here in order to shed some light on whatever the heck, we're going to do. Today's obviously, guys, just to recommend for the chat, everyone showing up late was there a robbery in 2013? We've discussed this already at length, but was there? Do you guys think so? In the chat. If so, who do you think deserved it? But more importantly, why? Not just because he's my favorite player, right? Sturdy says, I earned my topic, and you all didn't do it. You know what, Sturdy, that may be the case. I forget what the heck it was that you said, man. Because it's been a while, and we were ducking, right? So, bro, send that our way in the Discord or me personally. We will do that again. I swear, whatever you want. Because, yeah, you definitely won fair and square that question. So, and hey, Bobby, bro, I forget, man. He got the trivia question right.
3-hour video.
He said, I remember what it was. I said, what was the highest turnover total for one player in a single playoff series? He nailed it. What do you think it was, Hawk? Off the cuff.
The total?
For one player, highest turnover total for one player in any single playoff series all time.
Shit, I don't know. I ain't never looked at that. 62. I don't know.
You know what? It was crazy. It's actually the same player, and he did it back to back. Well, not back to back, but he's 1 and 2. LeBron, 2018 versus the Celtics, 40.
Yep.
And then 2007 or 2008 against the Celtics, he had 37. So Sturdy got it, and yeah, we'll do that. But I mean, hey, no hate. Good all there.
I knew the player. I damn sure ain't know the totals.
Oh yeah, I mean totals is hard to just have off the cuff. It's just because you have to basically count them up because that's not even the stat they keep. In
nah, because they damn sure ain't putting out ESPN.
Oh hell no, we have to be purists and dig into that.
Hey, what was the top? What was the 3-hour video that they did? That Bobby talking about?
Well, let's see here. I don't know. I have really been trying to I haven't really kept up with FYI recently, but it's probably just some anti-Jordan nonsense. I'm assuming.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never watched some of their videos, so I wouldn't know.
Bro, like I'm saying, like the last year or so, it just kind of devolved into them and GJK just doing, and it's just like LeBron good, Jordan bad, which is what we're trying to get away from, you know, because it just becomes so repetitive.
So it was a ratio.
Who gives a shit?
I don't know. It was a lot that led to a loss.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, hey, and we're not using that to knock LeBron. It was just a trivia question. Like an obscure trivia question that was hard. So I was like, whatever, let's do it. But yeah,
I never got asked the ratio, bro. It's just
yeah. I was like, it definitely wasn't 2-1. I'll tell you that. Not those series, but we'll go around the horn, get everyone's final thoughts, and because we got everyone's cash on the list and we've given our perspectives. Everyone's here. Fish, go ahead, man. Get your final thoughts off. Plug in anything you want to. Final thoughts about whatever you like.
No, I popped in. I saw Ro in here. That's my guy. I just popped in to see what y'all were doing, and I love the take. It don't even. I wouldn't even say takes. I would just say just basketball info, basketball conversation, and it's tough for me having played overseas to have basketball conversation without people making it personal. You know what I'm saying? Like people let personal views cloud common sense and judgment, and I didn't hear that here. So
no, hey man, that's our goal. Honestly, Fish, is to kind of get away from just bias-driven takes and narratives and just kind of discuss anything you want, both sides. You know, it doesn't have to. It's not going to be Jordan, LeBron always. It's going to be whatever you like, and we're just going to discuss it as people who say, "Hey, cool, that happened," and we can talk about it. And so
yeah, because I had a conversation. I just had a conversation, and I forgot what the post was, but it was between me and Spank Horton, Kevin Hart's guy, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, you're talking. What we were talking about, I was like, you're talking in a moment. You clearly don't know your history, so I'm gonna let you get back to your jokes because clearly. And it was the comment that what's the guy talking about women's basketball?
Mm-hmm.
The guy from the Nuggets with Brooklyn. I forgot his name.
I forget his name too.
Is it from the Nuggets?
Yeah, it was the comment he made, and Horton was like,
"Oh, dumbass." He's an airhead.
Yeah. And Horton said something like,
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, and Horton was like, it started with Brittany Griner, and I was like, no, it goes back to. He was talking about women saying they could have played, beat men, whatever. And he was saying, oh, it started with Brittany Griner. I said, no, it started with Ann Donovan and Ann Meyer when she wanted to play with the Pacers and she tried out. And guys were disrespecting. I said, you have to get out of the moment and do your research and understand when this conversation went on. It started back then.
You gotta understand. Most of the people that talk women's basketball now, most of them haven't followed. They never watched Cheryl Swoops, so they don't know nothing before that, bro.
No, they act like they wasn't watching when Houston was going for a three-peat. Like they act like that's not recent history. You know what I'm saying?
Man, they don't know.
They'll talk Cheryl Miller, but act like they don't know.
They don't. That's the problem. They look up a couple numbers, and then they act like they know her history, whatever. Man, if she started asking them questions that they don't know.
No.
What do you got for us, Herm? Final thoughts on anything we talked about it? And why are you still there? Maybe he's not. Herm. What you doing? All right. Well, we got Sturdy popping in. Hey, better late than never. How's it going, Sturdy? What do you got?
Yo, y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I try to do a rapid fire. I pretty much missed the whole thing. It depends if you however you see that 2013 thing with LeBron DPOY. I won't say robbery, but also I'm not going to say if you thought LeBron was worthy of DPOY, it's crazy. It's not. He has a good case, but y'all already went through the diligence, all that shit. I'm just keep it at that. And we go. Oh, in case you was wondering, yes. To them, like assist to turnover ratio does matter. So like that's why like guys like a Magic or like a LeBron, like who got series or times like or games with like high turnovers, you look at how much assists they produce because that's typically what happens when you have the ball in your hands a lot. So for those who don't know, even despite it was an all-time record with the most with 82, I believe he had 194, which is more than 2-1, which is good. But
Yeah.
those who care, whatever.
Yeah,
My thing is too is like I said before, multiple platforms. This LeBron and Jordan shit. This shit it left a nasty taste in basketball discourse. It's to a point instead of paying homage to players, it became how can I assault the other player while glazing the player I represent. That's what it became. Like and it's corny as hell. It's to a point now like people are not even trying to learn what made these players great. They just trying to look for ways like to how can I roast this player. And frankly, I blame Nike. To be honest with you, I blame Nike personally. But whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, you're right, man. All the more reason that we can start flooding with content that's not that oriented, right?
Nah, it's on both sides though, Travis. It's like
it is on both sides for sure.
That shit. This is corny. It's like both sides want to be selective. Both sides want to be hyperbolic. Both sides just don't want to just. You know what's funny? Both sides don't want to do what the players do themselves, which is pay homage.
Yep.
It's funny.
I agree. You know, and it's like I think a lot of us are on board with just having talks that don't, show favoritism to. I mean, you can have favorite players, but that's way different than just being like I'm going to constantly attack another player or team or whatever just to pipe up my guy or whatever. And I think that's what we all are agreement on. We don't want to do that here. So, and Bobby.
Last word. Last word.
I will watch that video. I will watch that video. I mean, or at least the highlights of that video. And if there's anything, because you said please debunk it, if there's anything worth debunking, which probably I'll try to do that. We'll do that, but I'm not trying to sit through a 4-hour FYF video because it's so cringe already. So, bring up some specific points to join us here every Saturday where we do this. And like I said, Sturdy's right. Sour taste, like that's partly why we're here to begin with, to do our own thing where it's not thematically forcing other players down your throat or our opinions about why so-and-so is better. We just talk the game. We talk what happened. We tear apart bad narratives. Sturdy's obviously the GOAT at doing that himself. And so, we're going to continue to do this here. But Hawk, take us away, man, with whatever you have in a summation.
I mean, I have nothing crazy to respond to what you said. I personally don't care about the assist to turnover ratio. Truthfully, you won or you didn't. Were you a part of the reason that you won, or you a part of the reason that you lost? I don't. Your stats are nice and everything, but the championship is the goal. So I don't really care about that. But other than that, y'all takes are right. Like I don't really care to shit on players for certain reasons. It's just when it evolved into a GOAT conversation that you have to nitpick people's careers, and then people started getting their personal feelings involved. When they get their personal feelings involved, then it gets like disrespectful, and that's where all the bullshit comes from. And I don't understand why you would get personal about somebody else's career that you didn't make no money off of, unless you was on FanDuel and they always won. Other than that, like I don't see a point of any of it. You can have a regular conversation about sports and going about your business.
Facts. No, and Rock, hey man, like there are some who don't, but all of us here, everyone you see here, mostly everyone in chat, we've argued for LeBron. We've paid homage to the man. We've given him his flowers. that you can pay homage to him without being biased toward him. I hope you understand the difference because we went over it ad nauseum. We love the man. He's an all-time great. Like, there's nothing. I mean, but like I said, we can talk about his career objectively without censoring it, without pumping it up. It speaks for itself. Fantastic career, right? And I said he's my GOAT, but like I can still talk about what happened in his career objectively, right? Without spinning it, without downplaying or overplaying it. And that's what we can all do. We all have many times. And we're here to do that about every player, right? We're here to talk current modern basketball. We're here to talk whatever you want, right? And we're never going to put a bias spin on it for personal or selfish reasons, right? Like that you've heard Fish and Hawk talking facts about a variety of subjects. But Sturdy does that on many platforms all the time. You know, there's a wealth of information and knowledge here. And you can come here and you can hear great things that we say about not only Braun, but everyone who's performing and everything else. So, we talk it all the time. But with that being said, this is episode number officially on this channel. And we're going to do some rebranding here, but debunked, right? And everyone can bring topics to us. We're going to have a lot of them. We're going to talk a number of things. And like I said, we're going to be collaborating with CW, Sturdy's here, obviously, all you guys in the chat. And, we're all going to see this familiar faces as we go down this journey. And this will be every Saturday at this time. We'll do the same thing. And then look out for, again, every other channel that you guys like, King Speech Row, Build Down Podcast, Go Cast Hoops, all these things. We're going to keep actually having fun, name of the game, and talking the sport, okay? And I shout out to everyone here who showed up in the chat, and obviously my panelists here. Ro, if you're out there, shout out to you, obviously, for being the official co-host, and everyone else. But you guys have a fantastic. We're going to call tonight here. Everyone have a fantastic rest of the day. Again, like and subscribe, please, and we'll have more content coming your way at all times. Okay. That being said, I want to wish everyone a happy Saturday and be safe and have fun.